Hello. Thank you for the 10K. I can't believe that there are this many of you here watching these videos that I make. It took me a very long time to have the confidence to be able to do this, but it's something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, like years in the making. So I just really appreciate you, and I'm very grateful for you. For today's video, I think I'm going to talk about books that I plan to read this month in March. And I think I'm going to talk about some spring perfumes. I know it's not spring yet, and I'm all for living present in the moment of the season that we're in. But I think it's fun to get excited about the upcoming season and have the time to kind of prepare, for what we're wanting to do. Like with books and perfumes and activities, recipes, all of that stuff those are things that I love thinking about kind of in the weeks leading up to the new season. I've always kind of been like that. Even as a young girl, I've always lived very much by the seasons, and I think my mom really taught me that when I was little. And there was this book that she used to read me called Guess How Much I Love You. And that book was very seasonal. I also grew up reading Bramley Hedge and Beatrix Potter, and I watched Little Bear on TV. That was my favorite show of all time, was Little Bear. And all of those shows were very, I think, based off of what season they were in. So that's kind of how I try to live my life. I do plan on making a very spring themed video when the season comes, but maybe this will be just a little introduction to spring. I think I also am going to make a stew or a soup of some sort today. And I really want to relish in these last few weeks of winter. So I'm probably going to make a soup. And then I kind of feel I'm in a very cooking, baking mood. So I might make a honey cake, a light, spongy honey cake with a glaze and maybe some figs on top. That sounds really good. I'm also just in a very difficult term for school right now. So I'm trying to do things that make me forget about school and bring me back to the things that I genuinely love. I love school, but books and cooking and fragrance and philosophy and doing things that scratch my creative itch, like writing. I really enjoy writing a lot. That's why I spend so much time on Substack. But yeah, I think that's a good solid video. Oh, and next week I've been meaning to post my little Tokyo vlog. I visited my brother in LA, and we had an incredible trip. Went all around Little Tokyo. We went to Chinatown. We went to a few other places in LA that I might make a little vlog, a short video that I want to share with you guys maybe next week or sometime soon. And in that video, I actually really want to recommend Japanese literature and some of my favorite Japanese literature books, as well as Japanese films that I really like. One of my favorite films of all time is House from 1977. If you like horror films, I highly recommend that film. I feel like that'd be a great, I think I'm thinking of ideas as I'm making this video, and that feels very unprofessional, so I'm sorry. Let's get into today's video. So I know that I said that I was going to talk about spring fragrances, but it feels a little early still. We are still in winter, and I want to make a video that is all about spring. Spring fragrances, spring candles, books, films, all of that stuff. But I know a lot of you guys were like inquiring about more fragrance videos. So I thought that I would do a winter to spring transition perfume. Like, we're at the end of winter, we're all longing for spring, for warmer weather. And so I wanted to pick out some fragrances that really encapsulate that feeling of longing for spring and kind of like the transition and the lull between seasons. So this first one that I have is Ground by Gabar. The notes in this are pink pepper, saffron, ginger, coriander, orris, fig, vetiver, sandalwood, and musk. This is beautiful. This is like you're walking in a forest and it just rained and the air is like, it's chilly, but it's not overtly winter. It's stunning. It's very grounding. I feel like the name of this fragrance is perfect for what the feeling encapsulates as you wear it. I think the sandalwood in this fragrance also makes it very soothing and comforting. Anything with sandalwood tends to be very comforting, and this is also very woody, so anything woody I feel like is also very grounding, and I think a great transitional scent to have on you as we kind of leave winter behind us. Monstera by Shinu is one of my favorite fragrance purchases of last year, and this one actually really caught me by surprise because this is a very green scent, and before Monstera I didn't know how much I liked green scents until this one, and it really took me out of my comfort zone, which I always appreciate in a scent. But the notes in this one are, there's a pineapple adjacent accord in the Monstera leaves, but there's bitter moss, white florals, and very subtle hints and undertones of cocoa and vanilla. So if Ground by Gabar was a walk through the woods, Monstera by Shinu is a walk through the forest, and this one is a lot more foresty and jungly, I think because of the Monstera, but it also reminds me of very monsoony, stormy summer seasons, or similar to June gloom or April showers, like the gloomy days of the spring and summer months. But it's beautiful, and there is something very comforting and enveloping about this scent. If you know anything about me, you know that Molecule is my favorite fragrance of all time. And I encourage you to get your nose on Molecule plus Iris, because this, in my opinion, anything Iris is beautiful for spring, and there's a coldness to the Iris and Orris note that feels perfect for this transitional period. Molecule plus Iris is ISOE Super and Orris. Those are the only two notes in it. So it very much is a second skin, and you get that woodiness from the ISOE Super that you do in Molecule 01, but just with an added lightness from the Orris that I think is absolutely beautiful, and it sits beautifully on the skin. I also think that this is a great bedtime fragrance as well, because it feels like you're being lulled to sleep. I know a lot of people like lavender. I'm not a lavender person, and when I am a lavender person, I'm very picky about it. I feel like if you are not a lavender person but you crave calm and comfort, try Orris, try Iris scents. They give the same effect. Tears by Regime de Fleur is probably the one fragrance that encapsulates melancholic spring more than any other fragrance that I've ever smelled. It really truly is in the name, Tears. The notes in this fragrance are also stunning. There's lilac, orris, ambergris, orange blossom, pink pepper, rose water, and mandarin orange. I don't know how else to explain this fragrance other than very feminine without it being too overly floral, while also feeling androgynous just because of the melancholic nature of this scent. It's a bit paradoxical in that way, but I feel like the person or being who would wear this fragrance is almost like, I picture a fairy in the forest who's really sad. Like a fairy who lives inside of a tulip bud and she's sad and she's crying. That's the best way that I can describe this, but it's stunning. I really love Regime de Fleur fragrances. I've also met the founder behind them all, and she is so lovely. The other one that I own is Falling Trees, but that is very much a fall winter scent. So the one on my wish list that I have a sample of is Rock River Melody. This is a very green scent, and the notes in this are green notes, ivy, galbanum, bergamot, rose, cedar, musk, amber, sandalwood. It's stunning. Also, I read that one of the Olsen sisters uses this scent. Alexa Chung also uses this scent. I think really hot people wear this scent. And while it is green, there's something very sensual about this fragrance that I really, really love. And it's quite addictive. A lot of her fragrances are quite addictive. But this is high on my wish list. I think this will be my next fragrance purchase. I'm still deciding. There's a few on my wish list. I have quite a few perfumes on my wish list. Maybe I'll share that with you because I love sharing wish lists because it kind of brings you down to earth. And I think when you have kind of like a wish list that lives in your notes app, you can kind of look back on it and decide what it is that you actually really want after writing it down weeks later. It really like forces you to not overconsume and overbuy because you're thinking a lot more about like upcoming purchases and things like that. Parisian Musk by Matière Première. I also have a full-size bottle of this one. This is a very sensual second skin fragrance. It's very fig forward and it doesn't even have fig notes in it. It has cedar, amberette, musk, and broxen. Like, this is a showstopper fragrance, one that will get you stopped in the middle of the street when people ask, and people will ask you like, what are you wearing? Because it is very addictive. It is very sensual, intimate, sexy. Like, yeah, this one is very difficult to describe. But when I smelled this, the first time I smelled this was in Adia's Perfumery, which is a little fragrance store on the Lower East Side. I bought it on the spot. There was something so intoxicating about this that I could not walk away from. So I love this. And I think it's great actually for any season. White Rice by Dainam. I love rice fragrances. I think a lot of people tried to do what Dainam did and no one can do it. They're the best rice fragrance in my opinion. There's rice, orris, jasmine, musk, tonka bean, cedarwood. I also wear this to bed. This is my like nighty night fragrance. Molecule plus iris, white rice. The tonka bean in this is beautiful. It feels like you're like wrapped in like a cashmere sweater. And then there's a deep nostalgia that I feel when I smell rice. So this puts me to sleep instantaneously. It's beautiful. Orpheon by Diptyque. I actually don't own the fragrance. It's a little too powdery on my skin, but I love the solid perfume and I like to layer this with Molecule, and I also own the shower gel, which I highly, highly recommend. Juniper berry, jasmine, cedar, and tonka. This has a cult following for a reason, and this is another scent that I feel like really hot people wear this fragrance. Everyone who I've ever seen that's like, I love Orpheon. Like the Orpheon girlies or guys wear this fragrance too. I'm like, yeah, you're hot. I finally got my hands on some Serge Lutens samples. I've been wanting to try their brand for a very, very, very long time. And the one that I really fell hard for was Iris Silver Mist. This is a very cold fragrance. It has iris, vetiver, galbanum, musk, incense, cedar, clove, sandalwood. I think this is one of the coldest iris fragrances that I've ever smelled before. It smells very clean. I don't know how else to describe it. There's something very addictive about this that I really, really enjoy though. The other Serge Lutens one that I smelled that I really liked was Je Repos, and this is very grainy. if you've ever smelled Poppy and Barley by Jo Malone, it kind of has like a tangentially related profile as that, which I really love. Like bready, grainy, musky scents are really beautiful to me. So Serge Luton, if you can get your hands on some samples, try them. They're just really expensive, like very, very expensive. So you have to really love it and don't blind buy. Just try them. I can't leave this video without mentioning my beloved Valaya by Parfum de Marly. I smelled the Extrait and it's not good, FYI. This is like one of my most complimented fragrances. And this is another fairy fragrance in my opinion. Like fairy, ethereal creatures from like fairy tales that you read as a young girl wear this fragrance. Like I feel like princesses, mermaids, fairies, all of the mythical, beautiful creatures that we dream about as young girls, this is what this smells like. There's woody notes in this. It's fruity, it's floral, it's fresh. It's like everything that I think a girl would want in a fragrance. It's very sparkly, if that makes sense. It's so fresh and it's so clean. And I wear this any season. It's probably more of a spring summer fragrance, but I don't care because I love it so much and it makes me very happy when I wear this scent. So that's everything. I have so many other fragrances that I want to talk about that I feel are so perfect for spring, but I want to wait because I really want to be more intentional with living presently, living in the season that we're in, and just kind of like going with the ebbs and the flows of the weird emotions that come with the changing of the seasons. So hopefully this scratches an itch for all of you perfume lovers out there. I am really excited about my March TBR, and I'm certain that I will not get through all of these, but I love to have options because this is quite a hefty stack. So let me tell you about each one of these books. To me, March feels like the perfect month for books that are obsessive and subversive, and books that really like pull apart history, morality, love, identity. This stack that I have here today, there's a mix of all of that. There's deeply philosophical and wildly decadent. And like I said, I'm certain that I will not get through all of these this month, especially because of this project book right here. But I want to have some options to choose from intermittently. And yeah, so here's what I'm planning on reading. The first is Middlemarch by George Eliot. If I'm going to read a Victorian novel, I want it to be one that really demands something of me. Middlemarch, from what I've heard, isn't just a novel. It's really an entire world, a study of ambition and marriage and failure and the quiet revolutions of everyday life. I think Eliot is almost forensic in the way that she dissects human nature. And one of the main characters, I think her name is Dorothea Brooke. I feel like she's one of those characters who will completely destroy me. And this is a novel that it kind of feels like it's going to take quite a bit of time, but I know that it'll be worth it. The Waves by Virginia Woolf. This is a novel written like a fever dream. It's fluid and rhythmic and hypnotic. And I think that the way Woolf dissolves narrative structure, she gives us almost like a symphony of 6 different voices that explore time and identity and this very shifting nature of self. And from what I've read, I think that reading this is really like you're floating and you're kind of in and out of consciousness, similar to Clarice Lispector maybe. You're really caught, between memory and inevitability of life and the things that happen to you in the course of life. The Collected Essays by James Baldwin. I already know that this is going to be brilliant because it's Baldwin and also because I already started it. This collection gathers some of his most searing, poetic, and urgent essays on race and power and love and art and what it means to be human in a world that so often refuses to see you as an individual. So I expect this to be a mix of intellectual devastation and absolute inspiration. I think Baldwin's voice is one that stays with you like long after you finish reading his books. The Lost Estate by Henry Fournier. I don't have this book yet, but I ordered it. I wanted to read this for a really long time. It's described as one of those great novels of longing, a book that is just soaked in nostalgia and the ache of something that is just out of reach. This book is often compared to The Great Gatsby, but with a more dreamlike, melancholic quality. I think the book really captures the fleeting intensity of youth and the desire to hold on to a moment that has already passed. So I'm pretty sure that I'm really going to like this one. The Monk by Matthew Lewis. This is gothic, unhinged, absolutely depraved. Everything that I want from an 18th century novel. The Monk is infamous for its excess and its descent into moral and supernatural chaos. There is lust, corruption, and the destruction of the holy man. This novel really scandalized its time, and that makes me even more excited to read it. So I expect this to be both wildly entertaining, but also very engaging and deeply disturbing in the best way. Bluets by Maggie Nelson. This book is also on the way. I've read parts of this before, and I think it got lost in translation when I moved. But this time I really want to sit with it properly because Bluets is like a collection of poetic fragments. It's philosophical and intimate and sharp. It's very beautiful, sorrowful, and it's about the color blue, essentially. But it's also about desire and depression and loss and obsession. And I think Maggie Nelson just writes with a way that feels like she's carving something into you, that it makes you see the world differently. I don't want to say the name of this title because it makes me feel icky, but this is a cult classic queer literature. This book feels like mythology, like prophecy, like a guide for living outside the bounds of a world that doesn't understand you. It's both playful and revolutionary and radical. This was written in the 70s, so it's kind of like a queer fable, and it offers like critique and hope, and this has been on my TBR for a long time, so I have no doubt that this will be unforgettable for me at least. Both Melissa and Lauren Louise are reading this book, as well as Sundays in the Library. So with those three recommendations, I felt very compelled to pick this up. So Bone Black by Bell Hooks. This is her memoir, written in short, poetic vignettes. It captures the complexities of growing up Black and female in the American South. It is both deeply personal, politically charged. It serves as like a meditation on memory, identity, and the shaping of a writer's voice. I think as she moves through childhood and through intersections of race and gender and class, there's this raw clarity that is very lyrical in the way that she writes. So I already know that this will leave a very profound mark on me when I finish. I really wanted to wait to record this video until I got this book specifically in the mail, but I had to record this ahead of time because I have lots of schoolwork to do and I knew that I wouldn't be able to do it. So alas, here I am without this book. But the next book that I'm reading that I'm super excited about is called A Woman Appeared to Me by Renee Vivian. So Renee Vivian is a sapphic poet. She's a tragic icon, and she is a woman who lived and loved with the intensity of a storm. A Woman Appeared to Me is her most autobiographical novel. It's feverish and it's fragmented and it's about obsessive love and heartbreak and this like inescapable tension between the ecstasy that you feel when you're in love and the suffering when everything crumbles. It's written in the early 1900s, so it was very radical for that time, but it is openly and unrepentingly sapphic. It's filled with the kind of like melancholic devotion that reads like a confession, and self-destruction, but it's very poetic, and it's filled with this like very particular kind of doomed romance that I am drawn to in literature. I highly doubt that I will get to this, but this is the selected writings of Thomas Aquinas, and this kind of feels like you're stepping into one of the most rigorous intellectual worlds ever built. His synthesis of Aristotle, Catholic theology, this book really shaped centuries of philosophy and doctrine. And as I've, I have been reading the Bible, I plan to read it cover to cover. And I've been reading other books to just like really unpack a lot of religious trauma that I've had over the course of my life. And I just want to understand the roots of it all. And reading this feels like going straight to the source of so much Western thought, at least, on faith and reason and existence. And I do think that religion and spirituality is a very personal and intimate thing. And like this exploratory phase of mine feels very personal and intimate. And it feels kind of weird to talk about it, because I think that the whole point of reading something like the Bible or reading scripture or the catechism or whatever your faith is to really be able to interpret it on your own. And I think a lot of religions kind of serve as a backbone to kind of lean on, a sense of community, things like that. I think that oftentimes it can get very nuanced. See, I'm having trouble speaking about this because I feel like I can't say anything. I think that's the common theme in any platform, is that there are certain things that you feel very trepidatious about talking about because of the culture and the society that we live in. But I do think that it is such a personal and intimate thing, and I find myself wrestling with quite a dichotomy in my brain, as you can see. But nevertheless, I'm very much enthralled by this book, the Bible. And I think that if you are someone like me who grew up in a very religious home, grew up in very religious private schools, and just kind of had this narrative of how things are supposed to be, even though you kind of felt in your gut that something was off, it's very interesting kind of going back and unpacking that as an adult, and after maybe you've had quite a bit of life experience under your belt. And I think it's the ebb and flow of one's religious trajectory throughout your life is kind of fascinating to me. And it's kind of beautiful because everyone's is so different, and I love that. Anyways, I will stop yapping now, but that is my TBR. I'm also kind of listening to audiobooks here and there. I really want to read or listen to Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey. I have the book, but I think I want to listen to it and have a different perspective. And on that same vein, or whatever you want to call it, I also have been listening to Mythos by Stephen Fry, and that's all about Greek mythology, Greek gods. Fascinating. Also, he is a brilliant narrator, which makes or breaks an audiobook, period. And then his follow-up book to that is Heroes. So it's all about like Greek gods, Greek mythology. If you're kind of nerdy like me and you're into that, I think that you would really, really enjoy that. So that's everything. Who knows what I'll actually get to. I'm very much excited about Middlemarch though. I have wanted to read this for so long, and it's March. So that's why I chose this. But I'm curious to know if there's anything that you're reading that you're really excited about this month. So if there is, let me know. If you have any recommendations, let me know. Not like I need to add anything more to this stack, but I could always push it to the next month. So yeah. So I kind of had a feeling that all of the packages that I was waiting for would arrive the night before that I'm supposed to be like having this video for you edited and ready to publish tomorrow morning. But that's okay. I wanted to come on here really quick to just show you some happy mail and talk about something that I've kind of been like waiting for in the mail that I'm really excited about. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna start with this box. This is tea, and this is from one of my favorite like tea houses in New York. Not my favorite tea house, but my favorite place to buy like loose leaf tea because I make a lot of tea at home. It's called Sullivan Street, and I got a bunch of different ones that I haven't tried and then a few that I really, really love. And they also ship, clearly, they ship around the US. I don't know if they ship out of states or not. But this one I got is lemon. I got a lemon tea. This one is really good. It's called Roman Provence, and it has a lot of like fruity notes, some berry notes. I love it in the morning, and I love that it's like perfect for spring too, as we're kind of like anticipating the new season. Yeah, there's rosehip, currant, elderberry, rose, lavender, fruit. And then wild pomegranate. White pomegranate, not wild pomegranate. This one is a white tea, and it's pomegranate, which I love anything pomegranate, like the real fruit or the flavor. And I love white tea too because it's nice and light. I typically don't like super concentrated tea, if that makes sense. This is arguably the best tea that I've ever drank before. It's called Winter Chestnut, and it's a very full-bodied black tea with lots of nutty undertones and notes. I love the chestnut flavor, and it is a winter tea, but it's also a tea that you can drink late at night. It's a tea that you can drink on a cloudy day. It's perfect. And then this one is a lychee oolong. I love oolong tea. One of my favorite teas ever is milk oolong. It's very simple, but I thought this would be another great spring tea, the lychee flavor. This is more winter chestnut in tea bag form. And this is a white melon tea, which sounded really good to me. I feel like this is very refreshing, and because it's a white tea, I think it would be good iced or just first thing in the morning. So yeah, that's my happy mail from the tea place that I love so much. So I'm new to Dead Cool. I've actually never really tried any of their fragrances, and I've never really had like a huge interest in them, but I think my For You page was like really For You paging because like every 15 minutes I would get a Dead Cool ad, and I've seen people talk about them so much. I don't know if I would wear their fragrances, but I've never tried them, so never say never. But I was very interested in their laundry because I love like elevating little daily experiences that we have, like using my Orpheon shower gel for when I take a shower, using like really fancy like detergent, and maybe not like for every day, but it just feels good like when you want to treat yourself, or maybe like once a week on Sundays, you know, if you want to like use something apart from what you normally use. Le Labo had a collaboration with Laundress before that whole drama went down, and they had a rose detergent. It was stunning. It was stunning. I'm not a rose girl. Jesus Christ, it was so perfect. I've never found anything like it, and I've been searching for something like it ever since. So we will see if this could be the one. This smells good. This is Taunt. This is the scent that they have called Taunt. And the flavor, the notes, can dryer sheets have notes? Bergamot, white musk, and amber. It smells very clean, but I kind of dig this. I love a dryer sheet. I feel old. So this one is I got minis because I don't want to buy a whole one, like a whole big one in case I didn't like it. Now the notes in the Taunt detergent are vanilla, amber, and bergamot. This smells really good to me. I think this might be my favorite. There's a freshness and a warmth, which I like. This is Red Dakota. This one's okay. It's very citrusy, which I normally don't mind, but it smells kind of like dish soap. This one is Extra Milk. This is the one you've seen all over TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube. And what's funny is I'm completely anosmic to it. I literally don't smell anything, not a single thing. And I've never been anosmic to anything, and it's very unsettling. I don't smell anything. Literally, I don't smell anything. It's driving me crazy. And it makes me want to buy a sample of the fragrance because, like, I've never been anosmic to anything. I have the nose of a hound dog, and I get it from my mom. I can smell anything from like 50 miles away. This is a strange sensation. Typically, people are anosmic to ambroxan, ISOE Super, but I'm not. I always smell those on me. I don't know. This is fire though. I'm excited to report back to you on this because I think I'm just gonna do laundry tonight. Like, I'm pretty much due for laundry, so I'm gonna test this out. No, but like Sundays when you change your sheets and you have fresh sheets, to have your bed smell like this, I just thought of that. Like, this is an experience right here. Who gets excited to do sheets and bedding? That's like a workout. That's a marathon right there, but I think this might make it exciting. So actually, this is the one that I'm most excited for because I love the Maker Hotel. I have on my wish list, I've had go to the Maker Hotel for your birthday for probably like 3 years now. It's been on like number one. When people are like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, I want to go to the Maker, just as a lofty whatever. But they reached out to me, sent me some goodies. I actually have one more perfume coming on the way, and I wanted to wait, but I'm not going to wait because I'm impatient. But I'm really excited to kind of like share my thoughts with you on this because they're free. Jesus, my fingers, what the hell? I've been wanting to try this, and let me tell you about what these smell like. I really love the bottle of this. It's so pretty and chic, and it looks very vintagey and pretty on my bookshelf right there. So the notes in this are fig, vanilla, black pepper, suede, cedarwood, jasmine, sandalwood, oud, vetiver, and musk. This to me is a very woody, sensual smell. Like, this is what you want to wear on a night out with your lover, on a holiday, on a vacation, when you really want to smell sensual and sexy and addictive. That's kind of what this gives. This feels like a very autumnal winter smell, but it also feels like something that you can wear like throughout the year on a night out. It's very beautiful. Like, I kind of want to bathe in this until winter is over. This is Dream. And I'm not a gourmand girl, but I don't hate gourmands. I'm just very picky, and I love gourmands for bed. I will not wear a gourmand in the middle of the day out, but I will wear the hell out of a gourmand to bed. This one is beautiful. It has cocoa, butter, not cocoa butter, butter, like the one you bake with, cinnamon, magnolia, sandalwood, vanilla orchid, caramel, amber, vetiver. This is not like, oh my God, you smell like butter. This is like, I am going to wake up on a Sunday morning and do like a project baking situation. I want to make cinnamon rolls. And it's not that it's Christmas. It's not like super holiday. It's like, I think I'm going to make cinnamon rolls today. And you wake up and you get all the ingredients out and you're making like the cinnamon swirl mixture to go inside of the cinnamon rolls before you proof them. And you take out the butter that you spread on the dough before you sprinkle the cinnamon sugar on top of it. And the smell just like permeate, like it hits you, right? And you're like, wow, I wonder what this tastes like pre-bake. So it's like my video cut off. It smells like that. It reminds me of that. And it also reminds me of like when you take them out of the oven and you have black coffee and you have your book and you're sitting there and it's Sunday and you have jazz playing in the background and you're like taking the first bite of the inside of the cinnamon roll. Yeah, that's what this is. This candle is cafe, so there's coffee notes in here, there's chocolate, there's cardamom. I think there's an oud in here, which I'm very picky about. But this is really beautiful and perfect for nighttime or perfect for the morning when it's a rainy day scent or a winter fall scent or a nighttime scent. Do you see how I categorize things in my head? I feel crazy, but that's okay. I'm really excited to burn this because I love coffee candles, and I feel like coffee is one of the few gourmand scents that can get away with being burned like in the middle of the day. Because it's a pick-me-up, right? It triggers something in your brain. You're like, oh, coffee, time to wake up. Or if it's nighttime and if it's bedtime, there's also like a soothing factor in a coffee note because of the cocoa and the chocolate, and it's comforting in that way. So this is really beautiful. I want to light this tonight and I want to read and not study and just like relax with this. I can't wait. As a side note, as somebody who very much loves aesthetics, if you have never even just checked out The Maker, go on Instagram right now or TikTok, type in The Maker and just look at their aesthetic. They literally so it was basically like a mansion, like a manor before, and they turned it into a hotel, and each room has a very specific theme. So they have like the writer's room, the artist's room, like all these very specific themes for makers, and each room is different. It's vintage. Every single piece in that hotel is antique and handpicked. It feels like a place, like you ever like look at a place and you're like, oh, that was made for me. Like that is where I want to be. Like they understand my soul. That's kind of like how I feel. Also, this is not sponsored. I just hope that goes without saying. Nobody's paying me to say this. I just really love them a lot. Yeah, go look it up. Go look it up and comment below and tell me what you think. Stunning. Look what finally came. I'm so excited to read this book. This is sapphic poetry. I know I already talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but I think the cover is beautiful. So excited for this.